At the beginning of the film, we see many pieces of the moon coming towards the earth. If they hit the earth, then the whole of humanity will be destroyed. Therefore, the world starts trying to save the earth from this destruction. For this, a project is made according to which a large base is built on the moon. The plan of the humans was that they would use nuclear bombs, weapons, and rockets to destroy the big moon, whose pieces are coming towards the earth. For this mission, they will die so that they can be saved from the destruction. And finally, after years of hard work, human makes nuclear rockets which will die. After which it is shown that everyone in the world is celebrating their victory. After which we see the main character of the story, Dugu, who is not interested in all this. He was only interested in his captain. He used to like her. As soon as she comes in front of Dugu, he stands quietly and starts looking at her. Now because of his laziness, the captain scolds him, after which she leaves. After her departure, Dugu comes to his room and starts thinking of new ways to influence the captain in the end. But he had no idea that some pieces of the moon were moving towards their base and they had less than 30 minutes to get out of the base. Then, as soon as the captain finds out, she tells everyone to leave this place. After which everyone starts running away from there except Dugu because he was lost in his thoughts. In a short while, all the workers left the base and started going towards the rockets in which they were to go away. When Dugu sees the warning message on the screen, he understands that there must be something wrong. At the same time, there was a storm there. As soon as he understands the situation, he starts running out of there so that he can reach his companions. But he sees that all the rockets have flown, except for one whose pilot was his captain. Then Dugu starts driving his car very fast towards the rocket, where he starts flying in the wind from a very high height. But he cannot cross it and wants to hit it from a place. Because the pieces of the rocks were moving towards him very fast, so the captain is also forced to fly his rocket. And then when Dugu comes to the place, he finds out that everyone has left him and gone from here. As soon as all the rockets go from there, many pieces of the rock starts colliding the moon, which destroys everything. Seeing this, Dugu immediately starts running to save his life. But then a piece of rocks breaks in front of him, which he runs and falls. But somehow he manages to escape his explosion. Then he sees a big pit there in which he runs towards it to hide. But then another explosion takes place, due to which he falls far away in the wind and becomes unconscious. But during this time, he was unaware that there is a very big piece of moon on the moon which is rapidly growing towards the ground. When Dugu comes to his senses, he immediately stands up and starts looking at the earth and gets angry for his people. They didn't even wait for me and left me. But then he gets to the news that very piece big of rock is colliding the earth. Then after a while, when a piece collides with the ground, there is a big bang, due to which the whole world is destroyed. It felt like the end of humanity. After which the earth looked like a burning ball. When Dugu was left alone in the moon, was completely disappointed and hopeless. That's why now he has no other way but to go back to the base. He goes back to the base and tries to contact everywhere, but he doesn't get any answer from anywhere, because of which he realizes that he is the only one left in this world. His thought spreads his sorrow. At the same time, he starts remembering his dead companions. Now there is so much food that will last his death was enough. After which he goes back to the world of his thoughts and goes straight to the captain's room, where he gets a bit of courage. That's why he starts eating food with his imaginary friend, the captain. But during this time, he doesn't know that at some point on the ground, some people had succeeded in escaping the destruction, which means he was not alone. They were worried to see mischievous Dugu, who was in the captain, who tells the captain to spread Dugu's news everywhere, so that those who are alive will have to face the difficulties. A hope is born in them. But the captain doesn't like this idea, because Dugu was far away from the earth. And to give an example to people, such people should be presented, who has gone through difficult situation. But Dugu was happy there. He was living a peaceful life. He also had everything to eat. But one morning when Dugu goes to get food, then he realizes that something is wrong here, because he had realized that someone was here. He also gets a package of food as a proof, which he didn't open. Then he slowly starts going to the dining room. There he sees somebody's shadow. Who was lying down? It felt like he was a girl. When Dugu sees him, he gets very angry and with love he starts going towards him. But when he reaches him, he finds out that he is not a girl, but a kangaroo, whose size was much larger than a normal kangaroo. Seeing a kangaroo, Dugu was not happy. He wanted a human being. Seeing this, Dugu picks up a stick of iron and tries to scare the kangaroo, but he can't do that because the kangaroo is not afraid of him at all. In fact, he is even more angry. He snatches the stick from Dugu and breaks it so easily as if it is made up of paper. Then he hits Dugu a lot and takes out his anger. But where was Dugu going to do? He makes a fun plan so that the kangaroo's anger can cool down and he can improve his mood. He makes his appearance like a female kangaroo and comes in front of him. Wears lipstick and colorful clothes. By doing this, he becomes successful in his plan. But when the kangaroo finds out that this is all a lie and Dugu is doing it, he gets very angry. He kicks him hard. To which Dugu runs fast. Even after repeatedly losing to kangaroo, he keeps fighting. Then he brings a machine gun to defeat him and starts firing bullets at the kangaroo. Those bullets were small plastic balls, which when hit by the kangaroo forced him to run away. He runs away from there. Then he had already caused a lot of destruction, but the situation changes. When the kangaroo gets ready to fight again, he traps Dugu in such a way that he had no turn to run away. Then Dugu slaps the kangaroo, on which the kangaroo retaliates and once again kicks him hard, to which he runs away and falls. Because of this, Dugu was very angry. He gets up and picks up his gun and attacks the kangaroo. But before that, the kangaroo grabs him, he slaps him on the face, after which he doesn't spare him and he hits him a lot, which makes both of them fall down, but both of them didn't get hurt. Then Dugu is very surprised to see something. The signals he had sent to the ground, his answer is coming, which give him hope that maybe humans are still alive on the ground, who we were safe from that destruction. But he was unaware of this, that the signal was not from the ground but from the kangaroo's device, because no one was coming to save him. They couldn't send his spaceship for him. But unaware of all this, Dugu was very happy. He was full of hope. He also showed kangaroo that very soon we will go back to our land, but the kangaroo slaps him again and throws him down. Dugu stays there on the ground. 200 days have passed and he learned to live with the kangaroo. He also made a plan that how he can go back from here. Then he leaves the base with the kangaroo and tells him on the way that a spaceship is still on the moon, which we will use and leave from here, and now we are going to it. Very soon they reach the spaceship and somehow they succeed in bringing it. Dugu then starts to fix it. He starts to change all the broken parts, but then he finds out a big problem, that the spaceship could only weigh 20 pounds. That's why he needed a different system to run the spaceship. Then Dugu remembers that the nuclear system is still on the moon, which he needed to get his system and petrol. That's why they both come out and go to the research building on the other side, where the entire nuclear system was present. The people on the earth were also able to see Dugu's nuclear system plan, but they didn't want him to do that. Then we came to know that Dugu's car could only run with the sunlight, but the sunlight was there on the moon for 14 days. And there were days when the sun was present on the moon, that is why his car was able to run. But the sun was only there for so long that his car could run only 6 kilometers. But because the research building was 8 kilometers away, then Dugu could have got stuck in the road and he could have died because of the cold. That's why he was going there very fast. It felt like he was racing with the sun. He was sleeping, he was competing, and although this he slept only for 4 hours, where the kangaroo helped him to wake him up on time. But because of his difficulty, he often reached the world of thoughts. One day when the kangaroo takes him out of his thought, then he screams and comes out of his thoughts. He sees the reality in front of him. He is even more scared than he thought, because he falls into the ditch and comes to the surface. And finally, after a long dangerous journey, they reach the research building. That is where the nuclear weapons and the systems were present. They go inside the building quickly and move forward very carefully. Dugu quickly finds the nuclear bomb, which he takes down because it was hanging up there. Then the kangaroo thinks of a mischief. He starts pressing the button very hard, because of which the nuclear bomb starts moving very fast. Angered by this, Dugu takes it off in the van and they start coming back to the base with the nuclear system and the bomb. In the meantime, he doesn't even think that the van is separated from his car, in which he had turned off the kangaroo. Then after going a little far, he stops the car at one place to check his friend. But he sees that the van is not in his car and he wanted to bring his friend back. But because the sun was setting, he couldn't do that. And he has to take a difficult decision that without finding him, he will lose his friend. But then he thought, he is my friend, I can't leave him to die. That's why he turns his car around. And without worrying about his life, he starts going to his friend. And finally he reaches him. As soon as he opens the door, the kangaroo hugs him and starts licking him in love. After that, he starts his journey again towards the base, and he was trying not to fall asleep, but the sun was going away from him. He was watching him drowning with his own eyes, because of which his chances of survival were also ending. Then the kangaroo gets disappointed and starts looking at Dugu. Then Dugu puts his mind. He turns off the heat to save the sun's light. But his plan does not succeed, because his car stops on the way. The trouble was increasing for him because he was still far from his base. There were only 3 hours of oxygen left in his tank to breathe. When Dugu gets disappointed and comes out, now his death was near. Then he was sitting outside his thought of the kangaroo. He breaks the door of his car and uses tools and makes a sled, which is often used to snatch in the snow. Dugu ties the rope to the kangaroo and gets on the sled. Then the kangaroo was running fast and moving forward, and these people were also moving towards their base. But then a big trench comes in front of them. Then Dugu tells the kangaroo to jump without fear. After which they both starts flying in the air. Meanwhile, Dugu opens his gas tank, and like a hero they start flying up in the air, and finally they cross that trench. After which they succeed in bringing the nuclear bomb and the system to the base. He was very happy because of this, but he didn't know that another piece of rock was coming towards him. Then he sees the signals are coming from the ground again. He is not happy about it, but he was happy. Then he sees the kangaroo playing with the system's wires. Then he knows that signals were not real but fake. Then the first one, which was born because of the kangaroo's tail, Zhang was very disappointed. He feels that no one else in the world is alive except him. He is the only human who is alive. Now nowhere in the world sees a disappointment on Dugu's face and decides that we will tell Dugu that he is not alone. In fact, we are there. Then everybody gets together and turns their torch towards the moon. When Dugu sees it, he doesn't even know that human is really alive. Zhang is emotional and starts crying. He fits this system, because of which he is able to see his colleague and friends on Earth, in which his captain was also present, which he liked. After this, everyone starts working together, and so that he can make the spaceship again and bring Dugu back. Very soon they succeed in their plan. They make this spaceship where both of them were ready to go on to Earth. They prepared to leave from there. They did not know another path of rock was coming towards the Earth. But after this, Dugu moves towards his rocket. Zhang gets very happy and starts celebrating. Meanwhile, Dugu succeeds in connecting his rocket to the spaceship, which was sent by the Earth. As soon as they starts flying it, the captain gets a bad news. Another part of rock is moving towards the Earth, because of a big rock was a part of it which was separated from it and was moving towards the Earth. After knowing this, people realize that if someone can save us, then it is Dugu, because he has a nuclear bomb with him, which means that Dugu was dead, because he had to sacrifice himself to save the people of Earth. When the captain tells Dugu about his mission, he immediately agrees, even though he knows that he has to sacrifice his life. Dugu leaves kangaroo in a small spaceship and says goodbye. He thanks him that he supported him such a difficult time. "You are my best friend." After which he presses the button and sends kangaroo towards the Earth. But he starts crying after seeing it because he knew he's seeing his friend for the last time. We will never meet again. Both of them were very emotional after seeing this. This was such a sad scene. But because he had to complete the biggest mission of saving the world, that's why he starts moving towards the rock, which was the root of all the trouble. Then he gets trapped in a small piece of the rock and somehow he starts passing through them. And then he was moving forward safely. Then a piece of rock comes and clashes with his ship. The ship was under his control. He was getting out of control, which Dugu was trying to control. He breaks the door with the ship comes under control. When he goes out to check the ship, he finds out that the engine is completely destroyed. Now Dugu decides that he will take the nuclear bomb to the rock by pulling the trigger, which means sacrifice and death. But because he had to save the world, he comes out without worrying about his life. He pushes the bomb and starts moving towards the big rock without any fear. He was constantly moving forward, during which his suit was also in a bad shape, and now finally he reaches the rock. Even in the bad moments, he was thinking about the captain, and suddenly a big explosion takes place there, and that rock is completely destroyed, which obviously causes Dugu's death. Then we see that all the people of the earth come out and look towards the sky and remember Dugu's courage and sacrifice and start praising him. He was called a hero because he had sacrificed himself and saved humanity. Then after many years, humans settled on the earth as before, where kangaroos also got their home back in a clean environment. Captain and his team was also sent back to the moon so that they can continue their work to protect the earth. And with this movie ends here.